KUDZUKIAN Network presents GRINDSET, inside the mind of successful entrepreneurs with your host, Cynthia Daniels and William Sprague.
I think sometimes we overplan things and that can kind of cause a delay or setback. But I would definitely say dive in, get your name started, get your website up, get your business cards.
But you're going to learn from a lot of amazing people what kind of pitfalls that they have, the challenges, but what really made them successful, what made them keep going.
GRINDSET.
You're listening to GRINDSET on the KUDZUKIAN Network, presented by Epicenter. I'm your host, Cynthia Daniels, Chief Event Strategist of Cynthia Daniels & Company. I'm an event planner. I create all things cool. And I am here because I took the leap 2 years ago to start a business. It's not easy. And the GRINDSET is going to give you the real look, what it looks like to start a business from the ground up. It's for women of color. It's for women. It's really for all people that want to be business owners. But we're going to give you the real on the GRINDSET. Before we go any further, I want to introduce you to my co-host, William Sprague. Tell them about yourself.
Oh, thank you, Cynthia. Welcome to the premiere episode of GRINDSET. Like Cynthia said, my name is William Sprague. I'm her co-host. I was able to witness Cynthia's leap into business from not only community service extraordinaire, but employee to starting Cynthia Daniels & Company. I've attended 40 Under 40. I've attended Level Up. I've attended Elixir and a lot of the events that she's thrown, and I've seen the quality of product that she puts out. But I'm also here because I'm the finance guy. I'm the banker. I work with businesses with revenues between 25 million and 250 million. But what I've seen looking at businesses day to day is that the fundamentals need to be there when you're doing 0 to $1 million in revenue, $1 million and 25 to revenue, and $1 million 25 and up to revenue. And so we want to know what these entrepreneurs who are thinking about going into business and the ones who are in business, what their fundamentals are financially and some of the history of how they started, what they started with, maybe even some of the sacrifices they've made. And I think we're about to interview on our premiere episode, Andrea Johnson of Bubble Bistro. I've never met her, but I've met her products. And my wife shops there. She's purchased things for me, but I know that she's a good friend and a mentor to you.
Absolutely. And I think the really cool thing about this particular guest, not only is she an entrepreneur that's been in business for 10 years, but she started as a financial analyst for the U.S. government. So this show will speak to a lot of women that are working that full-time job. They're thinking about leaving. Well, I'm pretty sure Andrea Johnson is going to give you all of the reasons why you need to leave and start your business today.
And I'm looking forward to it. As a guy, we talk about business. You can learn from everybody.
Right.
And if you've been in business 10 years, there's guaranteed something you can learn from that person.
Absolutely. I'm excited. So don't go anywhere. After the break, we'll be back with Andrea Johnson, CEO and founder of the Bubble Bistro. You're listening to the GRINDSET on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Presented by Epicenter.
GRINDSET on the KUDZUKIAN Network. Griffin on Jazz.
I'm Howard Robertson, one of your hosts for Griffin on Jazz. Griffin is your weekly visit with friends where we dive all in to that classic African-American art form called jazz. So don't miss Griffin with me and my man Melvin Massey every week on your favorite broadcast and podcast platforms.
Griffin on Jazz on the KUDZUKIAN Network. KUDZUKIAN!
I'm Andrea Johnson, CEO and founder of Bubble Bistro, and you're listening to GRINDSET, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network.
We are so excited to have Andrea Johnson, head unicorn.
Hello.
Bubble Bistro. Oh my God, I've been such a fan of her products for years. And we have gotten her in the building, so we're excited to hear about your journey into entrepreneurship. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
So one thing I didn't know about you, you are a financial analyst for the U.S. government. And you've gone from being a financial analyst to having one of the most popular brands around the world. You started doing international shipping, and then you started a brick and mortar. We just have so much to unfold. So I hope you got some time to hang out with us today.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
Awesome. So what was that moment that made you just say, I'm leaving this comfortable government job to entrepreneurship? Where did that come from?
It was life transition time.
Okay.
Pretty much the business endeavors were always there. The entrepreneurial spirit was there.
Okay.
It was just good timing. The financial analyst positions with the government are contracted. So I had come to the end of a contract after Hurricane Katrina, and I was like, yeah, I want a break.
Okay.
It was just time. It was like, you have that window.
Yeah.
And it's like now or never.
Okay.
And I can imagine doing the work during Katrina was a little bit stressful, or emotionally anyway.
It was just draining.
It
was just overwhelming, period. And it was just like, I knew that after that contract, I was going to need a break.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so why Bubble Bistro products? Like, help me understand, okay, out of all of the companies you could have started, like, why one that focuses on natural beauty products?
Okay. So a little background history. Prior to the government analyst, I used to do natural hair. A lot, of people don't know that part of the story.
I could definitely use that. That would be fantastic.
I used to do braids, locks, dreads, twists, all of that good stuff. And it started with making hair product, just because people have a tendency not to properly care for their hair in between their visits. So the hair product line really was just to make life easier for myself and my salon clients. And, that was how I paid my way through college. That was how I, found my way and knew that I love products. And then my middle daughter has hypersensitive skin. Like she could walk by a tree and go poof, turn into hives, dots, polka dots, all kind of stuff. So just that combination and feeling a personal need, first and foremost, was where the whole product direction came from. And I was in the right place at the right time.
Gotcha.
That's definitely the Caribbean islands are definitely very holistic living.
Right, because you lived in St. Croix.
Yeah, I was living in St. Croix at the
How
time.
was that? I can vacation in St. Croix, but living.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a big difference from living there and vacation. And that's the best description I can give. Living there is not vacation.
Okay.
Now, did you start your business in St. Croix and then brought it to the U.S.?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So what was the biggest difference business-wise from starting a business in St. Croix and business operations and then coming back to the U.S. and business operations in the U.S.?
Oh, my
Because
goodness.
business cultures can be different from place to place.
Yes. The biggest difference was, even though it was a U.S. island, it's international water.
Okay.
So you're still in the U.S., but you're paying international freight, cargo, tariffs, taxes. I was like, wait, whoa.
You're not about that life.
I just thought I was going to pay shipping. So that was the beginning of the wait. I paid to ship it. Why am I paying to import it? I'm still in America.
Right.
So
Allegedly.
There you go. So that, and the business, the entire operation of how things run, and this was prior to social media really being a thing.
Right.
So all of that came into play.
Okay.
Then versus now.
So mainland U.S. is easy to do business in.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's good to hear. So the first 12 months in business, the startup phase.
I'm taking it back.
So these days, right, like if you're in Memphis, you got Epicenter. You can go there, you can get your pre-planning done, you can get your planning done, and you can...
Plenty of resources,
Yeah, get a lot of
right?
resources,
Endless
right?
resources.
So I don't imagine you went through Epicenter.
No, I didn't.
So tell us about your first 12 months in business.
Okay. Well, let me first say this in regards to all the resources that are available, all the planning assistance and the Epicenter. It doesn't matter. It's not real.
Okay.
It's hypothetical theory and hope.
Yeah.
It's just not how, once you open that business, that it actually works.
Okay.
A lot of people go, I got my plan together. Yeah, the business doesn't care.
Yeah.
None of that. The market doesn't care.
Yeah.
The first 12 months were real. I don't want to say real hard. I don't want to say real challenging. I just want to say real, as in a reality check for balance, life, losses, gains, finding that comfort space of the business existing and sustaining itself.
Yeah.
For the first 6 months, it was just me. I made all the products.
Wow.
I ran the entire operation, the store, and I had a controllable growth plan.
Yeah.
And that was all in the first 2 years. And making a decision to foundation the business on the shipping side versus the retail side.
Got it.
So starting in the Caribbean, we've always had a huge international shipping following. So that's always been the first year. It's been a lot of that, getting the understanding of logistics.
So you weren't in a product business. You're in a logistics business starting out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So would you say how much planning went into your business model before you actually opened? And you're laughing.
That's a great question because this wasn't the original business.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know that.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
You heard it here first.
The original business that I was going to start was like a franchise. It was going to be a cooking school for kids. That was the original
That's a drastic difference.
plan because it came into when you're deciding what you want to do, you really should be brainstorming into your passions. What are things that you personally enjoy doing?
Yeah.
I love to cook.
Okay.
So, and I love children. I love all that good stuff. So that was the original plan.
Okay.
And then living in the island, I was like, you know what? The kids are a little more wild.
Okay.
This might not work out.
Right.
And you always think about your children, but then you have to realize everyone's children aren't like your children.
Right. Wow. Well, this is just amazing information. I'm excited to find out a little bit more and how this business was funded.
Yeah.
Funded. Personal credit card, period.
Okay.
Like I had that one reserve, big limit credit card, and I maxed it out and went over the limit on transaction 1.
All right. So when we come back, Brack is going to dig a little bit more into that.
I want to know about this credit.
Good deal.
We'll ask you more about that when we return.
GRINDSET on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Keeping it real, right, and funky.
Mauricio Calvo, who happens to be the executive director of Latino Memphis. Welcome to Funky Politics, sir. How are you?
Great. Thank you. You're having as much trouble saying my name as I do saying KUDZUKIAN, so we're even.
Hey, look, I'm good on that.
Reasonable people understand that a country is more than its leader. I mean, I love my home country, but I think people in Memphis need to count their blessings.
Funky Politics on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
GRINDSET on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
You're listening to GRINDSET on the KUDZUKIAN Network. We are here with Andrea Johnson from the Bubble Bistro. I have some cognac sitting on the table, but we're going to talk about that later.
Okay.
When we left off, we were talking about how you started your business, and you were talking about you started it with credit cards. Now, before we get to where you started with credit cards, did you have good credit first in order to start building up the credit card bill,
Oh, yeah. I had great credit. That's a key factor a lot of people miss, too.
Okay.
So the financial side was two-sided.
I got a steal from DJ Khaled. What do you call it? The Key to Life?
Major key
alert.
It's been a while. It's been a while since I listened to DJ Khaled. Major key alert. Gotta have good credit if you're considering going into business.
Yeah, if you want to be in it for the long haul.
If you want to be in it for the long haul.
All right.
So the financing side of the business is two-folded. Because I have one financial side from St. Croix, which was the very beginning.
Yep.
And that was definitely funded on one of my personal credit cards. So it had a huge limit, maxed it out, made a call. I need y'all to give me $1,500 more so I can get everything I need. And they were like, "You gonna max out and go over the limit on swipe one?" Yeah, something like that.
You were taking a risk.
Yeah, it was all in.
Yeah,
and the second time around, as far as transitioning here to Memphis and building the entire foundations here, it was family. I've had a family to give me a loan for what I needed to reset.
Small loan of $1 million like Donald Trump.
Not quite. It wasn't that heavy, but it was it was a substantial amount.
Yeah.
And it was belief in the brand, the product, and me, and what I was bringing and relocating here. Because relocating a business through international waters is a major expense.
Right.
So family came through in the clutch. Bank of Johnson.
Fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what were your first expenses when you started? What did you use that loan for specifically?
Oh, of course, securing the building.
Yep.
Heavy cargo for materials and ingredients. Because, you have to be fully prepared to run production for what we do specifically. Payrolls, getting payroll in order to prepare for things that will be coming in the future, opening up shipping accounts. You have to have a certain amount of liquid cash, just things like that.
These are very important things for the listeners to know. So the GRINDSET is bringing you a lot of great information today.
All the major keys.
Major keys. So let's talk about these products, right? You've talked about, why you needed the loan, what your expenses were, but I don't know if everybody understands the type of products you sell. You have this cult following. You can put out a product today and it would shut down the internet. It would shut down the website. You've been in business 10 years, never run an ad. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your products that you have? Why are they so amazing?
The products are handmade from scratch.
Okay.
Everything is prepared fresh. It's a continuous, nonstop, ever-changing, fresh production.
Amazing.
The concept of being that close to your maker.
Yeah.
And consistent.
Yes.
And we get to meet the maker today. meet our maker.
The products are 1,000% consistent.
Okay.
And the unique thing in the brand, of course, you can get skincare, smell good products anywhere, but they have to all be the same.
Right.
Well, I've created a formulation that allows endless, infinite mixing.
Because you have over 300 scents. Like over 300. That's insane.
So that creates an entire unlimited playing field.
Right.
So that is not in the market.
So the mixture is the secret sauce.
The mixing is the secret sauce. The formulations itself.
So tell the GRINDSET audience, what are some of your top products, like top 3?
Product?
Yeah.
Well, we don't have top product. We have top experience.
See, first of all, get me right. Get me GRINDSET audience. Did you hear that?
Yeah. So it's not a top product.
Okay.
It may be, I can say, a top package. Because when it's Bubble Bistro time, you need all the pieces.
Okay.
You can't
break it down.
You can't be missing the pieces.
Okay.
So that makes a big difference. So we really move heavy product in stacks of group bundle products versus one individual product.
Okay.
I think I'm missing some products. All I have here is my cognac soap on the table.
That wasn't on me, brother.
And it smells real good. That's on whoever produces KUDZUKIAN.
Right.
All he got me was the bar soap.
You're missing some
little
pieces.
body butter.
Smell good.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how you create your engagement online. So a lot of people listening today, listen to GRINDSET on the KUDZUKIAN network, they may be selling items online, but they really don't understand how to keep the engagement there. Can you give us a few tips on how you have created that trust factor from your following, where they would drop everything they're doing to come down to your store when you have the latest sent out?
Okay. The trust factor comes in. We're 10 years in and haven't changed the prices.
Wow.
So they know that it's not about the money.
Oh, okay.
They understand and they respect their position that we're bringing a great product to market at an affordable price that's not changing on you every 2 weeks.
So now you've really piqued my interest, because in the past 10 years, I pay more for a bag of chips, I pay more for water, soft drinks, everything. So if these major corporations are increasing prices, how have you been able to make yours the same with inflation? Everything costs more. So I can imagine your products your natural resources cost more to make your products. How do you keep prices the same?
There's no middleman. That's number one.
Okay.
Everything is done in-house. From the graphic design team is in-house. Everything is delegated to run the entire operation based on hands on deck.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Of course, we've incurred and we've eaten a lot of the increases over the years.
Why?
Because we could.
Okay.
Because it's fair.
Okay.
We're not losing by eating the 50 cent from the shipping.
Yeah.
The increases that we take on from postal, because they've increased the shipping every single year.
Right.
But the design of the business, a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, they mess up because they do not cost their business out correctly from day one.
Yeah.
They go in going, I should start so low so that the market could accept my products versus starting just where it should be.
Right.
Proper business valuation matters.
Absolutely.
So what happens when inflation starts to eat into your margins, right? At some point, shipping's going to increase. Your natural products are going to increase, right?
I mean, that's always happened. That's been happening for 10 years.
That's always going to happen, right? So at what point do you foresee actually raising prices?
We're not going to. We don't have to.
It's a brand name.
The business model, the design of the product mix allows fluctuating profitability to move that around inside of the business model. So, of course, some things go up, but then I might have to turn around and say, hey, we used to buy this in the 50 gallon. We're going to have to go ahead and buy that in the 10,000 gallon to offset the cost.
So I'm Andrea Johnson. You have me all the way in. GRINDSET audience, stay tuned. We have a little bit more coming up next for you.
GRINDSET on the KUDZUKIAN Network. Griffin on Jazz.
This next gentleman we're talking about has an unforgettable voice.
My sugar is so refined.
Jazz was the happiest.
Yeah,
That's the way he went to my school.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's not an alum because he didn't graduate. He has some gigs to do.
Griffin on Jazz on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
You're listening to GRINDSET on the KUDZUKIAN Network, and we're here with Andrea Johnson of the Bubble Bistro. I'm going to nickname her Bubble Bistro of the World because she's just here just blowing my blowing my mind with some of her business savvy, right? This is Fortune 500 CEO level business savvy. And we left off talking about how you haven't raised prices in the past 10 years on your customers. And so on one hand, you mentioned volume discounts, but my wife tells me that everything natural is expensive, right? If you think it's quality and it's natural, it's going to be expensive. So how do you produce a quality natural product at a quality price for your customers without raising prices over 10 years? Like, it's incredible. Like, how does that happen?
The core of that is we remove all the fluff.
Okay.
And in the fluff, I mean the unnecessary pretty packaging per se. A lot of that is the boxing or the bagging or the presentation of what you see on the shelf costs more than the actual product to make.
Wow.
So a lot of that price point, plus you got middlemen as far as getting it to retail shelves and things like that. Logistics and the freight, all of that is factored into the cost. So if you back all of that away and get to the home source of the good stuff, you got Bubble Bistro.
Quality.
You got all the quality without all the hype.
Right.
Not raising prices for 10 years, though. It's just...
And she's still killing it.
This is America. This is capitalism, right? You raising prices is guaranteed like taxes and death, you know?
It's just what you believe. It's just what you believe is normal.
The way that it's always been. Inflation, right?
Well, inflation exists. Again, like I said, well, that's undeniable. Costs have increased. But again, if the scale of the business is correct, you can capacitate that over the years. And as long as it's properly managed, it's not affecting profitability.
So how are you managing inventory then, right? So in any business that actually has inventory, you have your fast movers, things that's going to sell incredibly fast. You got your slow movers.
Absolutely.
How are you managing your inventory?
We manage inventory daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly. So it's a matter of not just inventory, but we also do that same flow for cost of materials. So costs change daily, fluctuate daily, and that has to determine if we're going to pallet this or if we're going to buy enough for the whole year. That's going to go into the entire cost spectrum analysis for the whole model. So all of that takes place regularly because we have to determine if we need to make supplier changes. If we need to keep going the way we've been going. All of that matters.
So how often would you say you're looking at your finances?
I look at numbers and finances. I'm a finance person.
How often?
I look at numbers daily.
Major key alert. That's daily. A grind set.
That's more important than watching TV.
Look at your finances.
Daily.
If not daily, monthly for sure.
No. Daily.
Weekly at the least.
Weekly at the least. Listen, Andrea Johnson said
you can lose your business in a month.
Okay.
All right. Cynthia?
Well, you know what? Let's talk about that. Because obviously you have this amazing model that has worked for 10 years, but I'm sure somewhere along the way there have been some sacrifices. I know for me, I've been an entrepreneur now almost 2 years, and I have no comparison to what you're producing on your end in the volume. But tell me, what are some of the things that our GRINDSET listeners are thinking about taking that leap of faith? What are some things that may come into pass?
You're going to sacrifice the normal. You're no longer going to have what everyone else considers normal.
Okay.
And you have to be okay with that.
Okay.
And that goes from myself personally, my availability for things, my children and their availability for things.
Okay.
Their understanding of what our life is.
Right.
Like everybody else kids, they need to go to bed at whatever time. We might be at the movies at 9 on a school night because that's what works. So just breaking free from all of the norms.
Right.
And understanding going into it.
Yeah.
You got to commit. And committing means you're committing to everything that you're going to lose along the way.
Okay.
And that being okay.
So what have you felt like you lost in the past? Look, I ask this because when I read biographies of all the great people, right, when you're great and you're good at what you're going to be good at, a lot of things fall away. A lot of the times it's friends, sometimes it's family, it's kids, it's spouses, right?
Yeah.
So what do you feel like you've sacrificed over the past 10 years? Or who you've sacrificed or thrown off the ledge or whatever?
Man, it's so few, it's not worth mentioning. The best thing that you can do is have that talk at the beginning. A lot of people have it in an awkward conversation once they're already into it.
Okay.
But I had that conversation at the beginning. Hey, family.
You married?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I had that conversation at the beginning. Hey, family, I'm going to need you guys to keep the kids. Hey, kids, you're not going to any birthday parties for the next 6 months. I'm busy every weekend.
Okay.
It's a commitment not just of myself, but it's a commitment of everybody that's in my circle.
Now, is your husband and spouse involved in the business?
To his degree of involvement.
Children and spouse.
The children are they're super involved.
Okay.
Like, they're like the heir to the throne. So they're all into it.
I like that, heir to the throne.
Husband is kind of like, high five, babe. Do your thing.
Yeah.
We'll be over here.
Yeah.
I mean, he's involved, but he's it's not his thing.
Right.
So he does his own thing.
Got it.
And that's really one of the things we wanted to talk about here on GRINDSET at the KUDZUKIAN Network. Who was the most supportive person? So it sounds like your spouse and the kids are there with you.
Man, my parents.
Your parents.
There would be no Bubble Bistro if it were not for Mr. and Mrs. Johnson.
And how were they in part of that DNA of Bubble Bistro?
Man, from financial funding, from unlimited babysitting passes, unlimited school pickup passes, unlimited, I'm traveling back and forth from the islands to Memphis to building supplier chains internationally.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I need y'all to keep the kids. I'm going to be gone about 2 weeks. Just that's never an issue. Just that village support.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly, without their support in it, it would not be as thriving as it is because they gave me that support when I had to be gone the most and not disrupt my children's lives.
Okay. And so for those listeners out there that are ready, they're right there on the edge of taking that leap. What's some advice you would give to a person today that's ready to be an entrepreneur? They really don't know where to start. Obviously, we know Epicenter is a great resource. They have a lot of great programming, but what would you say?
Stop cutting yourself short.
Okay.
A lot of times they just go into it without the truth. They always see the successful entrepreneurs after we've done the hard part.
Right.
And they believe that going into it, it's going to be so beautiful.
Perfect.
Such a beautiful. No, it is hard.
Yeah.
And I can spend about 5 minutes talking to somebody and you're going to make it.
Really?
Yeah. Their life design is not structured in a way to successfully maneuver entrepreneurship.
Life design.
Yeah. Like, I need to know, can you stay up 3-4 days straight?
Regardless of the business.
I don't care what you're doing.
Yeah.
Can you stay up 3 to 4 days straight?
I was thinking about starting a business, but I think I like sleep too much. So
it's a
not for you.
factor. I'm serious. Like, it's little dynamic things inside what it takes that a lot of people think they have. Just because you have a great idea or a great concept does not mean you can execute it to success.
That's more than fair. So, I mean, the last question for me, we got to wrap up, right? So what's next for, one, Andrea Johnson, and then two, what's next for Bubble Bistro? Do we grow this thing nationwide? Are we multiple franchises? Like, what's just next for you? What's next for the business? And what's next for the joint entity?
The Bubble Bistro itself, its growth will sustain in our online departments, our international markets. We may not open another physical location just because it's a reason people are closing stores. The dynamic of the shopper is changing
every day.
So we've kept pace with that, and we may venture into, if we do any franchising, it'll be on an international scale. We may not open another location in the U.S.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but personally, I mean, there are other business ventures that I have that I finally have gotten a little freedom to dip into and open up the next channels to life.
Yeah. Listen, thank you for sharing your GRINDSET with the GRINDSET audience.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, I had a good time. I learned a lot too.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot of major keys.
Mission accomplished.
I want to thank Andrea Johnson of the Bubble Bistro, and we'll be right back.
GRINDSET on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Best in Blue.
We've got with us the Lieutenant Tyrone Curry. Lieutenant, how are you, sir?
I'm very well.
So we'll teach them how to be good communicators.
The brainchild of our own police director right here in the city of Memphis.
On the KUDZUKIAN Network.
I hope y'all enjoyed this episode as much as I did. My mind is still blown by not raising your prices in 10 years. But from a finance standpoint, Andrea hit the 5 C's of credit in my perspective. She hit character. I just love her personality. It's impeccable. Her work ethic. She had the collateral in all her products and services and business. She told us about how she maxed out her credit cards, but she had good credit to start with and the conditions that was necessary to start her business. And also the credit cards and the money and the capital that she needed from friends and family. And what this episode did was really highlight the financial acumen and the importance of looking at your numbers in order to understand your business, whether you want to scale up or scale back. And Andrea just hit those points perfectly. I'm thoroughly impressed by Andrea Johnson and the Bubble Bistro.
And I think for me, what I really walked away with is that you can start with one business model and think you're going to create natural products for your customers doing hair, and then it turns into this international business that's been sustaining itself for 10 years.
Yeah.
So your business can change. You have to be willing to shift with it.
First episode, the premiere episode, and my first podcast is now in the books.
High
Great
five.
Job, partner. I had a great time.
I did too. I can't wait to the next one.
I think I'm going to go to Bubble Bistro tomorrow. I think
Treat yourself.
Yeah, that's right. And so you've been listening to GRINDSET, of course, on the KUDZUKIAN Network, presented by Epicenter. We'll see you next episode.
GRINDSET. Executive producer Epicenter. Recorded at KUDZUKIAN Studios. GRINDSET is directed, produced, recorded, and distributed by KUDZUKIAN.